Wow.
Hello everyone, this is Jeff of TAOFLEDERMAUS. I'm kind of excited today because we'll be testing out the Bush Buster, which is the first 12-gauge projectile we've ever tested that was made in the country of Poland. The company that makes them is called Cervus and was originally in Ukraine, but they moved all their production to Poland. Today we'll be testing their lead hollow point version, but they also make a steel version if you need a non-lead projectile. Eventually they'll be selling 20-gauge and 16-gauge versions of the Bush Buster too. And you can go over to Facebook and follow them there to keep up on their new designs. The Bush Buster is a 56 caliber Diablo-shaped projectile. These are designed to shoot out of a smoothbore shotgun, anything from a cylinder bore to a full choke. One really interesting thing we found out is they work equally well flying forwards and also backwards. So in case you need more penetration, you may opt to fire it backwards. The Bush Busters use a very robust plastic sabot, and I believe once they start producing the 20 and 16 gauge versions, all they have to do is modify the sabots and use the same projectiles. Cervus is currently trying to get ballistic products to import these projectiles, which would make it a lot simpler and probably cheaper than buying them directly from Poland. Let's hope that Ballistic Products jumps on this opportunity to import these cool slugs into the United States. I want to give a big thank you to Dan Herrera here in the United States. He actually paid the big bucks to get some samples imported in the United States, mailed some to me and also the shotgun scientists. Now I'll put a link to their tests in the description, so check that out. This is what our shells look like today, and we'll be burning 35 grains of long shot. And if you look closely, you'll see one is loaded backwards. It's time for the test.
Well, hello everyone. Today we're out here with the Polish. I'm going with Polish. Even though the guy who made these and made it all happen is from Ukraine, they are producing these in Poland. And since we have never shot a Polish projectile before, this is kind of an honor. So we're going to try the Bush Buster first out of a rifle barrel, see how that does, and then these are really intended to be shot out of a smoothbore, even through a full choke, I was told. And I really want to see how stable they are out of a smoothbore. Even the backwards one, we got a backwards one to test out too, see if that is also stable flying. So let's get the Chronos high-speed camera there. Okay, we are 20 yards away. We got the chronograph set up. I'm not sure how easy these things will be able to read, but let's give it a try.
The red dot on the shotgun is calibrated at 20 yards using a Foster slug. When we shoot different projectiles, we'll often see completely different ballistics. When we start seeing a trend of the slug flying high and left or whatever, we'll actually make adjustments to the aim rather than adjust the red dot. We'll only adjust the red dot in our calibration tests. Now in this first test using a rifled barrel, you'll see that the slug has a tendency to drift to the right. A Foster slug, of course, would have hit dead center. This, of course, does not mean the Bush Buster is inaccurate. It just has different ballistics than a Foster slug.
Well, okay. So I was aiming right in the center here. Our elevation was good. It shot quite a bit to the right. This is 20 yards away with a rifled barrel. Impact is pretty substantial for a small projectile, but it hit it. You know, this was a clean area here all the way through. This one had been shot before with our wire rope slug, so not the most valid test. Let's see how the smooth bore works now.
Well, we have the same Mossberg 500 shotgun and the same red dot, but we have a completely different barrel on there now. Using the smoothbore will show that the slug is indeed self-stabilizing, but the ballistics will be radically different than using a rifled barrel. Real-world testing is quite different than what you see in video games where you put the red dot on something and you hit it every single time.
Here we go. Nice solid hit. Still no reading. It is armed. Okay, smoothbore, aiming at the center. Here we go.
With the smoothbore, we had a very stable flight. That Diablo shape never fails. But as you can see, yeah, the ballistics are quite different. This shot high and to the left. On the next couple shots, we'll continue to use the same point of aim. If the slug continues to have the same point of impact, then we'll adjust the aim. Now, doing it this way, we can actually get an idea of how well they group, even though we're using different targets.
I need to rotate it a little bit this way, but this one definitely shot a little to the left. Lots of lead fragments in there. Our slug is just almost fused in there. You can see there we go. That's what's left of our slug. Very, very deep cavity, knuckle deep, if not more. And we did hit a nice, clean, solid place. So it came very close to busting through that lead plate. With a lead projectile, that's pretty good. Good penetration. Okay, we've got a steel plate, 3/16 inch. It's at 5mm. I want to see if these will pop through that. We've got the velocity, I think, even though we haven't got a reading. These things should be going around 1,500 feet per second if my powder recipe is correct. And well, let's just see if we can pop through this plate. Let's see if we get some weird drift on these or not. Here we go. Woof. Let's see if we get some weird drift on these or not. Here we go. Woof.
Again, we're using the same point of aim, and here comes our slug flying straight as an arrow. Beautiful. And no problem popping through that plate, but notice the position of the impact, very similar to the lead plate using the smoothbore. Now, I predicted that the Bush Buster would fly equally well backwards. So let's see if my prediction is correct or not.
Okay, here we go.
Not only did the backwards Bush Buster fly perfectly stable, the ballistics and point of impact were almost identical to the forward flying one. So that's pretty cool, I think. Now, the owner of the company has tested the steel version of these slugs on a 5mm plate and punched through it, but did not believe the lead version would do it. But as you can see, they have plenty of power.
The wet catalogs look like. I tape them up, soak them in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket for at least one day. These have been sitting there for about 3 days, and then it swells up like a pig, and it like more than doubles in thickness. And it's the poor man's ballistic gel. I encourage everyone who can't afford ballistic gel and just want to test out their cool new defense ammo, give this a try. Gives you very good results. Okay, we'll finally be adjusting the aim on this one. They all kind of seem to be flying high and to the left, so I'm aiming low and to the right. Here we go. Here we go. There we go.
I adjusted my point of aim using Kentucky windage to about right there, and we got a little better, more centered hit. Now, we saw very impressive damage to the wet catalogs, and I believe we got full penetration. But we still haven't gotten a reading from our chronograph on how fast these things are flying. Now, I'm using a Lab Radar LX. It's a Doppler radar. It can be a little bit frustrating to use because it has different ranges that it reads at. I usually use handgun range, which is from 591 to 1608 feet per second. If the slug is slower or faster than that, you just don't get a reading. And there's also the possibility that it's not reading because it's confused by the Sabot and doesn't know how to record that. And there's also the possibility that it's traveling faster than 1608 feet per second. Now, I guesstimated that these would be flying under that speed, but just for giggles, we'll set it for rifle mode and see if we can actually get a reading from this thing.
So pretty impressive damage. Again, I had to adjust my hold to get it to hit the center. And again, this thing is, well, about 9 inches thick at the thickest area there. It appears that it went all the way through. This appears to be what's left of it. Okay, we are 50 yards away, lazed out, and I'm just curious if we could hit the dummy using that same aim to the right and down a little bit technique, the adjustment we've had to do. See if we can. I'm hoping to hit the sticker. I'll be happy if we hit any part of him. At 20 yards, we know where they're hitting. At 50 yards, it's anyone's guess. So let's see how it does. All right, here we go. Feel good about that. We seem to have hit it.
Now in this shot, I'm just kind of winging it, kind of guesstimating where to aim, and I put the dot right about there. And really, I should have been aiming even lower. Now, this is a pretty small little projectile, so it's kind of hard to see. So let's zoom in a little bit and see where it actually hit. Now, I did a pretty good job of guesstimating the azimuth, but the elevation was just a little bit high. Not a terrible shot, though. And finally, we got the chronograph reading from the lab radar, 1,655 feet per second. Now, I really did not think this powder load of 35 grains of long shot would propel these things faster than 1,600 feet per second. By setting it to rifle range, we were finally able to read it, and also a longer range shot. It wasn't confused by the wad and the Sabot. All right, the next target is just a gallon of colored water. And this is a simple terminal ballistic target that gives us a pretty good idea how much energy is actually hitting the target.
Wow, 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 wow.
Absolutely impressive energy there. You'd think we were shooting a rifle at it. Now, sometimes I have to prove that I'm actually human and capable of mistakes. I forgot to use my holdover, but I still hit it, but it was the same high and left impact. But that is an absolute impressive amount of energy dump on that water. It just vaporized it. Now, occasionally we get some comments saying that we have to use the same target for every single test. Now, for me, that'd be a little bit boring. I prefer to show the terminal ballistics on a variety of completely different types of targets. I think it's more interesting that way.
Last week I was telling you about the less than perfect clear ballistic gel that I bought. I just recast this block, and yeah, it's still yellow. And for all those people that think that clear ballistics is a gelatin, it's not a gelatin. So putting hydrogen peroxide in when you melt it down is completely going to ruin the block. It is not water compatible. It'll just turn into a big, expensive blob of crap. But it's still very clear. Some people actually like the yellow color. It's kind of like wearing yellow glasses, I guess. Yellow tinted glasses. I don't know. But you look closely, there is, I think, some bits of toilet paper still inside there. But it's, you can see how after recasting it and then just glazing over it with a heat gun to you know, smooth over the surface is the way to go. The wrinkles are the biggest problem that I complain about when you get these blocks. And then recasting it, it looks beautiful again. And of course, Gumby came to us via Steven and Andy, their brothers. And they often send cool little stuff like that for just for entertainment. I appreciate that. Very nice guys.
Absolutely devastating ballistic gel shot. Not only did the slug fragment into a bunch of small splinters, the base of the slug managed to penetrate the full 16-inch block. Now, I thought the hollow point would just cause expansion. I did not expect to see fragmentation like that. That's pretty cool. This gives us a pretty good idea of what exactly happened inside our wet catalogs, too, and why the slug was so deformed and missing the front half of it. Let's take a look at it frame by frame. Here comes the projectile impacting and immediately fragmenting. It almost looks like a hydrogen bomb test. Now, I often get these comments from people saying, I don't want those fragments in my meat. And that is why bullet placement is so important. You shoot where there isn't any meat. You go for a double lung shot. Those fragments tearing through the lung will ensure a faster, more humane kill.
Now that was actually quite a surprise there. I didn't expect it to fragment like that. I thought it might mushroom a little bit and pass through completely. It definitely passed all the way through the block, all 16 inches. And the hollow point definitely functioned well. We could see multiple fragments of lead, some of them going about 7, almost 8 inches into the gel block. Most of them are around 5 inches or less, a couple at about 3 inches. But that's a big surprise because I didn't expect it to fragment like that at all. Even at this range of about 12 feet, it still shot to the left a little bit. I was just aiming about that height and at the center. So it still wanted to shoot to the left a little bit. And then this big old gouge there is probably from the Sabot hitting it. But really, really cool fragmentation. It looks like that one actually left the block. But there you go, that is it. Very interesting slug from Poland that we had the opportunity to shoot. Hopefully Ballistic Products will sell these things and someone will come up with a really good recipe for them. You know, 35, 37 grains a long shot is probably way too much. You know, maybe 30 grains is the magic number for these things to get them around 1,500 feet per second and calm them down a little bit. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Pretty cool slug. We'll see you next time.